Welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest and most entertaining stories where I go over them, analyze them, and on occasion, make fun of them. Today, I'm going to go over a story titled, Girlfriend is Pregnant by Another Guy After a Wild Weekend of Being Romantic with Him. Gory details inside. Thoughts appreciated. And guys, this whole story is about a guy, looks like they're both about 30 years old, him and his girlfriend, and he thought everything was great. They were soon going to be getting engaged and all that, moving in together. Or they were living together. They were living together, but they're going to be buying a house together, moving along in life. And one weekend, they both went out different parts of the country for to hang out with friends. And long story short, this guy finds out that his girlfriend, while she was away, spent the entire weekend hooking up with some dude. And he make matters worse, the type of guy she hooks up with and all the details involved, because he says in the title, gory details inside. And believe me, because this guy finds out because, wait for it, she gets pregnant. And probably the only reason he found out about it is because she got pregnant. And he made her tell him everything that happened. And let me tell you, you want to talk about details. Now, I got to tell you guys, I was debating whether or not doing this video on my other channel because there's a lot of important lessons to be talked about and brought up in this story. But it's a little more on the crazy side, a little more on the entertainment side, so I'm doing it here, but we'll point out some important lessons of what I think what really went on behind the scenes at the end of the story. And bear with me, guys, as there's definitely a lot of terms and words in this story that may be a little YouTube unfriendly, so I'm going to have to try to speak in code and make it a little more PG to obviously do the video. So it starts off, he says, me and my girlfriend are both 30 years old. We have good jobs and make a reasonable amount of money. We've been together for 5 years. I love her very much. She is, to be frank, the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. She could easily be a model. She is many guys' ideal woman and certainly a 10 out of 10. Whenever she goes out, she gets hit on constantly. He wrote that in giant letters, whether I'm there or not. So right here, you can see he sees her as a top prize. He sees her, he's put her on the pedestal, which is the last thing any guy should ever do to a woman because it makes them lose respect for them. And you're going to see more that I'm right. He says, me, not so much, although I have no problem attracting women. I'm above average, a 7 out of 10, and take care of myself. But I couldn't be a male model or anything. So he knows that she's out of his league. That's his attitude about her. And I guarantee he treats her like someone out of his league. So is any wonder what happens? I mean, at the end of the day, what happens, you're going to see, because she's a shithead. But also, this guy doesn't help a situation. He says, generally our relationship has been fantastic. Neither of us has been unfaithful, and we're very much in love. I certainly love her very much. Well, you think you've both been faithful. You know you've been faithful, but you don't know about her. The last six or so months have been stressful, however. Work has been into overdrive for both of us, and although we've made a reasonable amount of money towards buying our first house, either of us we're getting home before. Let me just. He wrote this all as a run-on sentence here. He says, make a reasonable amount of money towards buying our first house, and either of us were getting home before 10 p.m. is very rare. Basically, we've been exhausted and have neglected both sex and our relationship, although not for any other reason than time and being exhausted. My feelings haven't altered one iota, and neither have hers. Again, so you think. Pay attention to people's actions. So they're both working all the time. So there's no time for romance and hooking up and togetherness time. Well, women tend to find that they tend to be resentful towards guys, no matter how busy they are, and it's meant for good reasons to help the family when they don't make time for the girls. And you're going to see. He says, fast forward to about 2.5 months ago, when we were both invited to separate reunions with old friends across the country. He says, neither of us are from the area that we're living in now. It was a great opportunity for both of us to blow off steam after working so hard and neglecting life for a few months. Although we were both disappointed, it wasn't going to be with each other. Well, you're going to see she wasn't disappointed. So we kissed, told each other how much we loved each other and we'll miss each other, and I went across the country to my hotel and she went to hers. Let's just say we had very different weekends. And you're certainly going to see this. He says, hers involved going to a party where, in her words, the most good-looking guy she ever had seen approached her. Apparently, he was a friend of someone else at the party. She basically said everyone was getting wet just looking at him, and she was just on a high that this guy approached her. She didn't plan anything, but everyone was drinking heavily, and she ended up in bed with him for most of the weekend. Not just once, but the whole weekend. And of course, blaming alcohol. When she came back, she was the most loving, attentive girlfriend you've ever seen. Well, there's a reason why. Guilt. I was still too tired, exhausted for sex, but literally she was like a Stepford wife in the weeks that followed. I stupidly just put it down to her missing me and loved that she loved me so much. You know how many stories I've done where women cheats and all of a sudden she's like treating him like a god, and then he finds out that she cheated or had been having an affair, and that's why she's been doing that? Fast forward again, she broke down and said she couldn't cope with the lie anymore and told me everything. Prompted, I'm sure, by her finding out that morning that she was, wait for it, pregnant. This is zero possibility of being mine. She broke down and told you because she got pregnant. This guy wouldn't have found out what you're about to hear, guys, if she didn't get pregnant. Mark my words. She is the most sorry and frightened woman you've ever seen. She even asked me to physically harm her because she is so angry and upset that she cheated on me. In other words, she's saying, punish me, punish me. Yeah, that wouldn't be a very good idea. You can't imagine the legal ramifications or criminal ramifications that could happen if she gets pissed off. She says she will do anything, in giant letters, that I want to make things okay. It's a bit scary, actually. She's frightened and literally shaking at the prospect of me leaving her. It is always the same story. They cheat, have affairs, get pregnant, and then they get caught or circumstances make them have to confess what happened. And then they're crying and begging the guy not to leave, and and they're so sorry. It's like, why'd you do it in the first place? Because women can turn on tears like that. And they'll put on the whole scene, and the guy will eventually cave, and there you go. But remember, once a cheater, always a cheater. He says, if I'm honest with myself, I think most of the fear is about the baby. She's crying, saying that she can't get rid of it, and she is terrified of keeping it and raising it alone. So she expects this sucker to stick around with her, even though she cheated on him, and wait till you hear the details on this, and raise some other dude's child. No, she's not reaching out to the guy who's the baby daddy, because that guy isn't going to raise the child. How many guys have stuck around to do something like this? I was completely, utterly numb and heartbroken. I bet. That sucks. I said to her that before I go any further, I need the truth. Literally every second of what happened that weekend, or I'm out the door. I knew this was a double-edged sword and that the reality and cold facts could destroy me, but I'm one of those people who cannot not know. The facts were horrifying and made me physically sick. I actually threw up. Basically, my girlfriend was this guy's personal P-star, speaking in code here, for the weekend, and here are some highlights. And guys, get your beer, get your popcorn ready to listen to what I'm about to read, because holy shit, this is like what he described as graphic. And I got to speak in code and make this as PG as possible for this video not to be flagged or taken down. YouTube's a little psycho about these things. Here we go. Number one, he said, based on what she was telling him, it was the roughest and most aggressive sex she ever had experienced, and she effing loved every minute of it. It was the best sex she had ever experienced. Oh, I'm sure that made that guy feel really good inside to hear that. Number two, she had several powerful and intense O's, you can figure out what I mean by that, during their weekend in bed. She has never come like this before with anyone or solo. Again, another thing to make him feel good. Number three, his sausage was the best she'd ever taken, 9 inches. He made her effing measure it during one of their sex games, which rubbed all the right areas, and he could keep going for hours. Truth is stranger than fiction. Number four, they didn't use protection, obviously. If it wasn't bad enough she's already hooking up with this guy and doing this the whole weekend, the fact that she wasn't using protection. You want to talk about somebody that honestly wants to sabotage things? They didn't use protection, obviously, and he came in her mouth. She swallowed all over her face, her chest, and inside several times during the weekend together. Fun fact, after he had done his business on her chest, he pushed her back in the bed and scooped up his love juice with his finger and fed it to her. Can't make this shit up, guys. Number five, He smacked her during getting it on, not too hard, her ass and her face, and before she even had time to feel the pain or react, he'd whisper something or do something passionate that made her just let him keep going, she said. So he basically taught my girlfriend how to enjoy some certain things that start with a B that weekend. Awesome. He caught some of the above on his camera phone, so there was a video somewhere of my girlfriend basically acting like a P-star in a cheap hotel room. There you go. I wasn't kidding, this was graphic. Holy shit. I don't know about you guys, but I would have been like, get the F out of here. I never want to see you again. Cry all you want. Get the F out of here. I was a good boyfriend to you. I treated you great. Get the F out of here. But this guy doesn't know what to do. He says, so Reddit, I can't say I didn't consider the implications of asking, but effing hell, I've had my heart firmly ripped out from me. Hell yeah. That's not even my girlfriend. My heart hurts from hearing this happen to this guy. Currently, therefore, I have a girlfriend who's pregnant by a male model, a guy who's into the B, D, you get the point scene, with a magic sausage who's going to have, and she's going to have his baby, and who is so sorry she will do whatever the F I want so I can somehow get over this and stay with her. Because she sees him as a typical nice guy that will stay with her. She settled for the nice guy, but she lusted for the bad boy. And I'm going to get more into that at the end. Basically, I could treat her however I please as long as I don't leave. It's fine if I hate her for the rest of my life, even as long as I stay with her. We've been talking about marriage and kids this last year, and she is desperate for me to commit to that still. Get the hell out of here. Married to her after what she did? They've been together for 5 years, and it's not like it was like one time. This went on the whole weekend. This was absolute intent. But she knew deep down she was with a nice guy, and if she got caught, he would forgive her. She could put on the waterworks. That was what she thought here. And this happens all the time. She keeps promising to spend the rest of her life making this up to me and will be the perfect wife I could possibly want. You want to make it up to me? Get the F out. I don't even know what to think right now. I feel like every sense I have has been shorted out, and I'm now totally numb. My first instinct is to just wait for her to work in the morning and pack up all my stuff and just leave. I'm not the type of guy to raise another guy's baby. Damn right. Nobody should be raising another dude's baby. Maybe if the guy died and the guy he passed away or something like that, then that's a little different. But other than that, hell no. I'm not the type of guy to raise another guy's baby, especially now I know the full circumstances of how it was conceived. We have just 2 months left in our lease, and I can easily switch to a different end of the country with my job very quickly. I feel so grateful for that right now. Hell yeah. So I can literally leave and never speak to her or hear a word from her again. The only problem is I'm so in love with her. Bro, she is not so in love with you. You were in love with the idea of her, of who you thought she was. Well, guess what? She's not who you thought she was. So therefore, then, it's a different ball game. And I don't care if she's a 10 in the looks department and all that. She's obviously a 0 when it comes to integrity, respect, loyalty, all those other important things. You really want to be with a woman that's going to do that to you? Because you stay with her, mark my words. Number one, this is going to be in your head forever. You're going to be raising Chad or Tyrone's baby there. She's never going to respect you, no matter how much she says she's going to make it up to you. And she'll probably do it again. Hell no. He says, I don't feel like I'll ever get over her. Yes, you will. F. I'm hesitating. I'm second-guessing myself. What do you think, Reddit? Is it possible to overcome a situation like this? No. I can't think how. I simply cannot raise this guy's kid. I can't. Fuck. My head's all over the place. Rational thoughts would be awesome about now. Okay, so guys, I'm going to get into this real quick. Here's the deal. By and large, most women settle, and I mean an overwhelming amount of women settle. In their prime, their teens and 20s, if they're above average, they can have no problem getting guys. Okay, especially if they're like an 8 and above. Since he describes her as a 10 and is constantly hit on, she has no problem getting guys. But the type of guys she wants usually are not the types that you're going to marry and settle down with, okay? Because they either don't ever want to get married or they're bad boys and they're like the guy she hooked up with and they're just good for fun in a week and that's it. So eventually women will settle for the nice guy. They usually wait till their mid to late 20s, if not 30s. They find a nice guy that they know is not going to cheat on them, that they know is going to see them as a prize, put them on a pedestal just like this dude, and settle. And they can then play house with them and go down the path to get married and all that. But they're always going to lust for the bad boy, the high-value guy, the chatter tyrant, whatever you want to call it. And oftentimes, eventually, they step out like this. And you get what we have here. And these guys can't understand it because they think, I got this great girl. She's so great to me. I got this prize. Hooray. No, she settled for your ass. Because I guarantee you, the stuff that he described here that she said that she did, she doesn't do with him. You know why? Because she doesn't have to. Because she knows that he's there no matter what. That he sees her as a prize. So for you guys that think that you got this great girl and you finally won because when you were in school, in high school, college, you didn't get girls, and then you got to be 30 years old or something, and all of a sudden these girls that wouldn't pay attention to you are, it's because of this. They want to settle. I know it's the ugly truth. I know it's a tough pill to swallow, but that's the reality. And it's not that they suddenly have become mature and saw the error of their ways when they're younger. No, they didn't. They just realized that type of guy won't go for them It won't go for them anymore, isn't going to settle, and they do want to be a Mrs. somebody and have a family by and large, so they settle for the nice guy. So be aware of this, gentlemen. Understand this for you guys that watch this. I'm talking a lot more than I normally do here, but this is what I do on my other channel. This is why I said this video could have gone both ways, either my other channel or this, but it's important. So that's what happened to this guy. So no, this guy should not stay with her. He should get the hell out of town, pack up his shit, get another job on the other side of the country, and never talk to her ass again. Let her learn a hard lesson. Because he's going to, every time they hook up, he's going to be picturing this. Every time. She's not going to respect him. She's going to treat him like shit. And the odds are she's going to do this to him one day down the road. And he's going to be raising some other kid's child. Hell no. And also, it's not the child's fault, but this guy would end up resenting the child. You know, so just it's best to walk away, move on. Once a cheater, always a cheater. Move on. Now, for the fun of it, I have some comments from the comments section. That's always a fun way to end these stories here, to see that I'm not alone in this opinion. One guy says, dude, she wants you to take care of the baby. Also, since she hasn't had the chance to get bored with that guy, nothing will ever live up to that weekend, and she will probably go looking for it again. Exactly. She didn't seem to feel too bad until she realized she was pregnant and had to tell you. If you want to raise another man's child while she thinks about him every time you F-U-C-K, then go ahead. But I don't think you want that. She even told you she was just scared of raising it alone. Don't get used as a wallet. Exactly. Hit the nail right on the head. You wouldn't have heard about this if she didn't get pregnant. And it would have happened again. And she's freaking out by having to raise a kid alone and people asking questions and all that. And women cannot handle being abandoned most of the time. Another guy says, speaking from personal experience, this is exactly right. Just get out while you can. You will never forget about this, and you will never get over the trust issues now that has been breached. Cut your losses. Right. He's never going to trust her again. It's ruined. And he says he's so in love with her. He's in love with what he thought she was. Well, he now sees her real true colors. He's every right to get out of there. Another guy says, you know what 5 good years with someone isn't worth? The rest of your life feeling inadequate and miserable with staying with a woman who cheated on you for an entire weekend. Cut your losses and leave. And he says, edit, whoops, forgot to include my rant about the fact that she endangered your health and hers by effing this dude without any sort of protection or birth control. Frankly, this woman sounds like an idiot. Another guy says, final step, dump her because she's a cheating B-word who wants to raise this bastard child of the a-hole she cheated with. Step 2, realize that when you claim that she's a 10 out of 10 ideal girl, that is crap. A 10 out of 10 girl would not have cheated, plain and effing simple. The perfect girl will actually respect me enough to not effing go away for a weekend cheating, and she'll be smart enough not to get knocked up. So in reality, not only is she a morally piece of crap, but she's stupid. She is desperate for you to take care of her and a piece of crap's bastard child, because she knows damn well he isn't going to do anything for her. Right. That guy, no, she's not reaching out to that guy, because this guy here, the guy telling the story, is a sure thing. And he's a good guy. This guy writing the story, I mean, in spite of what I'm saying, I feel bad for the guy, but he's a good guy and doesn't deserve this. But he's a nice guy. And she thinks that he'll be a sucker. Well, I hope he doesn't. And finally, one guy says she does not care, love, or respect you. She let herself be used by him and knocked up by him, and now wants you to be the effing, I'm not going to say that word, and raise his kid. The kid of this guy, she is effing dreams of the kid of the guy that she effing dreams of servicing again. Why would you not just kick her useless, cheating butt into the street? Hopefully on her way out, or she'll fall over and die. Anyhow, so I'm not the only one that thinks this. So get the hell out of there and move on. But like I said, guys, at the beginning of the story, I wasn't kidding when I said this is graphic. I mean, the details there, feeding her his love juice amongst the many other things there. And it goes to show you also that I don't care how much a girl may come across as sweet and innocent, they're usually the freakiest ones. But they're not going to do that type of stuff with just your ordinary guy. But the guy they lust for, it is the sky's the limit. But I guarantee that guy wasn't getting any of that freaky side of her. No way, because the nice guys don't get that. They do the bare minimum. It's the starfish sex. That's what the nice guys get, pretty much. And the more they lust for you, the more freaky they are. So if you guys watching this have girlfriends or wives or whatever, the more she sees you as a prize, the more as a catch she sees you, the more freaky stuff she'll do with you. The less stuff she does with you, the less she sees you as a prize. End of story. That's just how it works. Anyway, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below what you think about this. And guys, again, if you come across a great story, something crazy, something entertaining, or a personal story, by all means, email it to me and I'll certainly do it in the future. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.